Don't get me started.
Don't get me started.
Don't get me started. Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
Don't get me started.
Don't get me started.
Don't get me started.
Don't get me started.
Many of my local community watch Grenfell burn. We know there are more than 60 or 70 people who have died. And we need that list so we can actually conduct a proper mourning process. But I have to talk about my rage, people. I'm trying hard not to feel, sorrow is so deep, but my rage keeps me going. We have had a Tory council for 44 years. These guys, these bastards, have been responsible for the slaughtering of my neighbours.
The fact is that these people cannot deliver justice. All they can do is to deliver more properties and more profit into the hands of corporations like the one that we want to see done for corporate manslaughter. In this country, housing has become a commodity, not a human right. Let's be clear. That's why thousands of families are moved out of London every week. Thousands of communities ripped apart. Children taken out of their schools. Taken away from grandparents. We know who this is happening to, and it's not happening to the members of Parliament, it's happening to us.
Because I'm angry, but I don't want to do an anger thing, because I've been doing it for the last 10 years. I work for an organisation called Food for All. I was around and I fought for people to be fed on the food banks that we deal with. We feed 1,000 people every day, 6 days a week, unfunded, because they cut our funding. And there are so many people involved in that. There are so many people that wake up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. That's love. They wake up 5 o'clock in the morning. They clean the vegetables. They come up from Watford. They bring the food down to London, and they feed 1,000 people every single day for free, never asking for a penny. And that is love. And when I stand up here right now, and when I think about all the horrors that we've seen on the TV, you hear some people on social media and they say, yeah, but what can I do? What can we do? Well, you can do anything. Even if you were disabled, you can be one of those warriors on your couches, doing something on social media, sharing what's going on. You could be, if you're a poet, you can write a poem. If you're a fine artist, you look at Banksy. What does he do? What does Banksy do? He tells the story. If you're an artist, if you're a singer, if you're a musician, talk about it. Talk about what's going on. They used to do this in the war, and we're in a war. We're in a war zone, and it's a fight against consciousness here. So there's a massive fight against consciousness here, and we've all got to understand that. So I'd like to if you'd allow me to give you a little poem, if that's okay, just to calm the mood down. And let's talk about how we're going to love each other, and how we're going to love those people in Grenfell, and how we're going to love all the other people, all the other displaced people around here, because there are many. We can't go through our doors anymore. We can't live like this anymore. We need change. We need change. We walk along our paths in life, not knowing where to go. And all around us, pain and strife is going with the flow. A battle fought and lost before another takes its place. And all is at the cost to more than just the human race. The pain we've caused and not much time to put the picture right. And all remains the same between the black man and the white. And everybody's looking not much further than their nose. With power here and hunger there, that's how this system grows. It's hard to tell a man, oh yes you can if you work harder, if at the end of it he cannot ever fill his larder. And what to those of you who cannot make it on your own? Like with our old, in winter's cold, we leave them all alone. With all the victories they have won, God save the Queen, you say. stuck in a home ain't too much fun for the heroes of today. And everybody's waiting for somebody else to change. And I forgot the rest because the thing is going on. But all I'm trying to say here, it's about love. It's about we can do this as a team together. You're an artist, you're a poet, you're a musician, you're a vocalist. You can all do this. You're on the social media. Stop reading the papers because they're not true. Stop it. Boycott it. Do everything. We've got telephones that can film burning of those papers and make a statement. This is about us. It's not about them. We've had enough of them. It's about us. Make statements. Do things differently. You see what's going? Because if you don't, we're all going to bloody die. Do things differently. Be passionate about what you're doing. And you don't have to be angry. And let me tell you something about anger. It's not a good thing because you know what? It cuts you off from the source. Anger cuts you off from the source of love. And the only thing in this life is love. Love is all there is. Please let me leave that one message. Love is all there is.
Even in a democracy like this, we've still got the power. Because at the end of the day, I honestly believe that politicians are out there for themselves. And the only people that can bring about change are the people that vote for them. So if you take that scenario that politicians are out for themselves, then we need to give them something that they want for them to work for us. Because at the end of the day, they're public servants, they're meant to work for us. So what happens is after every election, these political parties in Westminster come together and they look at the numbers. They look at who's come out to vote. They look at where they're working class, whether they're rich, poor, whatever. They look at the age groups. And the people that come out to vote, what do? They bring a manifesto to benefit them. That's why you see these tax cuts. 7 years of austerity we've been losing. Working class people have been put at the bottom of the pit. Now you got to ask yourself why. The reasoning behind this is that we simply, and it's just simple and plain, we don't vote. Yeah? The people that do vote are the people that are rich. The people that know that the interests of those politicians up in this building who sit in their AC offices or out here burning in the sun, yeah? They're the ones that know that the power at the end of the day is with the people. Now, we, in the last election, the most recent one, we showed them that the power of social media is great. And that social media can bring about change. No one listens to the bullshit mainstream media and all the shit that they spit out at us. It's all about the people, and the social media is what brought about the change. Now, you see, the last election, everyone put Jeremy Corbyn on the back foot, right? But he played his part in the election better than any of those other politicians because he used social media it was his playing field. And that's how we reached out to the people. Now, Theresa May got a shock. The first shock was a hung parliament. And now she's gone to work with the DUP, trying to get something sorted. Now, every single one here, and everyone, tell a friend to tell a friend. Wednesday the 21st, we're back out here during the Queen's speech, making sure we get our voices heard. Yes. Yeah? To make sure that those cowards up in those buildings listen to us. Because the only way they're going to listen to us is if we actually come out with our opinions and we express ourselves. Because like I said, social media. Now, if they look at how we've shifted now, young people, right? Think about the numbers. Let me give you some numbers, right? In the 2015 general election, it was estimated that 30% of young people came out to vote. What happened there? We lost. During the EU referendum, yeah, about 33% of young people came out to vote, and the percentage difference was 1% between the Leave and Remain. What happened? We lost. Now in this one, they're saying 72% of young people came out to vote. Yeah? Look what we've done. We changed the game. Now they know we've got our voices heard. How? Through the elections. We showed them that our voices to be heard, and these cowards better appeal to us. And this goes to everyone, right? Not just young people, working class people. Tell a friend to tell a friend. People that say voting doesn't matter, it does. It does. Come out, tell a friend to tell a friend. Vote. Wednesday the 21st, we're back out here, making sure Theresa May knows exactly what's going on and knows that we're not happy with what's going. 7 years of austerity, we don't need no more. Because the government's been selling off services for us. All our money in this country is going to different countries. EDF Energy, the Royal Mail, all these public services that are meant to serve us as a people are being sold to private owners who aren't even British. The money goes back abroad. So understand that we need to come together as a people from all different backgrounds, all different religions, all different cultures, from everywhere. Come out, make sure we know, and they know that we need change. And change can't come from these sticks up in that building. Change is bottom up, it's not top down. It comes from the people coming together to come up to a position of power. And the only way we can get that is if we come together. Peace.
The 1st of July demonstration and keeping out on the streets and supporting people in Grenfell in the ways that they want us to, that is part of getting rid of Theresa May. It's part of what can see her off sooner rather than later, because she is going to go. And in terms of what happens after that, is down to us. Because actually it's people who make the world work, and it's people who can decide they want a political alternative and they don't just want more of the same austerity and inequality. So I think it's down to us to support people in Grenfell, but in their memory I know what I'm going to do, and that is I'm going to fight to try and make this world a better bloody place so it doesn't happen again.
We shouldn't have to be here today. We shouldn't have to do this today. But do you know what, Joe, for years what we've been feeling is slashes to services, austerity sweeping through our communities, and do you know, when you look at the victims and the families that are living around the area at the moment of Grenfell Tower, it's no surprise to me, you know, that they've come out in force. Because you know, when we feel sanctions, we go to our neighbours, and your neighbour will sit there and give you a few potatoes and a tin of beans and a couple of eggs to feed your kid, because your community cares, whereas the government does not care for you. It does not care for Grenfell, it does not care for you. So do you know what, when we stand here and talk about justice, we need to get justice for them, but we also need to get it for us right now, who are dealing with these problems, but also those that are going to come for us in the future as well. I've got 2 children at home, and they've spent their life living under austerity. They know nothing else. Like loads of many other community members in the working class areas of London, they are struggling. They can't afford to feed themselves. Their class size is overpopulated. Their accommodation is not appropriate. Like, they've let social housing decline. You only have to look at the Haygate and what they did in South London. They will let it run down to the ground, and then they will tell you that you're not able to live there anymore because it's not fit. Well, of course it's not fit for habitation, because it's been left derelict for the last 10 years with no help or support from the council. It's just communities that are coming together to help out and be the support that we all need. Now, we've done that. We've done that, and we've really, really helped out a community that felt a massive, massive tragedy. But you know what? We need to take it to that next push. Mobilise your local communities, talk to people in your block, bring it out on the ground, bring it out in rent strikes, bring it outside your MP's offices, your councillors, go and take it to their doorstep, because you know what, this is a political problem. I haven't seen it. I don't want to get angry. I don't want to sit there and disrespect the lives that have been lost, but you know what, them families, they've got a right to be angry. We have a right to be angry. Our communities have a right to be angry.
Okay, so we're here in Parliament Square right now, and can you just give me an idea about, just for the camera here, what the mood is like and the reasons why we're here?
We're here as a memorial to show our respect and a memorial for those that lost their lives in Grenfell Tower. I think for me, I'm also here for those survivors who are still in deep, deep shock. Also for those witnesses. So this is far-reaching. This isn't the hundreds of people that lost their lives. This is for those few survivors, because we have to be truthful about this. The numbers are not correct. Anyone in the community, like myself, knows how many people were potentially in that building that night, which is a greater number, double what anyone's saying. And we're here because there needs to be some place where people can lay flowers and candles and have a voice. So we've just heard someone who's been related to the Italian couple, the architect couple, that lost their lives being on, I think they were up in the sort of 21st floor, something like that.
I understand they've just come from Italy.
They've just come from Italy. there's a lot of feeling here. There's also a lot of anger here, but we've changed the tone a little bit, because we can be raging and we will continue to rage, but we also have to acknowledge that actually this is a massive sadness. This is a massive hole in our community. It's a massive hole in our nation, because that community, our community, everyone's community, represents the whole of this nation. You know, I'm not going to say, I have trouble saying the UK, because United Kingdom, we're not feeling this right now. There's no united other than the united grief. That's.
Yeah. Can I ask you? So you live in the area? How close to Grenfell Towers do you live?
I live. I mean, I could see the burning building from my balcony. My son was 2 roads away and is still quite traumatized because he came out to the falling debris. And I think people in the surrounding roads of Grenfell were so frozen in shock that they didn't know what to do. It was this feeling of helplessness and chaos. And I was particularly concerned because the neighbouring adjacent block was evacuated at 3 o'clock in the morning, with the fire still raging, the screaming still being heard, and those children witnessed all of that. And sorry, for me nobody should be witnessing that, and I don't know how else it could have been done, but it's just that nothing was really very well thought out, because it was so reactive. You know, the fire engines couldn't get close to the building because of the parked cars. We were even asking if our fire station was even active, because we know it was threatened a few years ago. You know, the practical issues are there was never any marked out area of fire access like you do get in other neighbourhoods. I'm trying to stay away from the sort of rich and poor thing, but you can't actually escape it.
You cannot escape that, because it's there in your face. Yeah. What do you say about the cladding that they put up? And they only put it up a little time before that, hadn't they?
I've got a lot to say about that. Basically, you know, all the residents, as I understand, were really distressed about the refurbishment. Because if you're talking about refurbishment, you can't just be talking about the outside of a building. This is very representative and symptomatic of the whole issue here. There were fire extinguishers with condemned written on them, right? There was no emergency lighting. There was no proper fire doors. So the instructions given to people to stay in their stay in their flats, because they would have an hour, didn't apply if you don't have fire doors, right? There's only one way in and one way out. There was one person that I've heard who had a fob for a back door, and all he's saying is he wishes he hadn't opened that door and called to wake up those people, because they couldn't get out. So for someone in that building to feel that they would rather have not alerted people to something that they were unable to escape from. I mean, I've got goosebumps right now. I just repeating that story, because it's just, we shouldn't. I mean, it's 2017. We shouldn't be having these fucking conversations. Sorry, shouldn't be having these conversations.
It's real news, this, by the way.
This,
You're on IFN News, and it's real news. You can say as you want.
Right. We shouldn't be having this conversation. We shouldn't be here right now. And whilst we are here, you know, we're outside a place that is being subsidised for them to have their meals and their drinks at night.
Yeah.
No, I was outside Kensington Town Hall the other day. Not one person came out. Not one person came out.
That's a travesty.
And now it's boarded up because they're in fear. Luckily, someone had the foresight to set off the alarm in the town hall, which I wish I had, because that was deep. That was deep, because they had alarms. There were no alarms in that building.
Can I just bring you to 2 days after, it's the aftermath now.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
obviously there's the shock.
Yeah, yeah.
But then the aftermath happens, and of
Yeah.
course there's going to be an amount of anger, and there's going to be
Yeah.
there's going to be a lot of displaced people.
Yes.
So
Well,
can you
that's
talk
it.
to me about what you felt?
That's the other thing. There was no coordination between the hospitals and those families. So people did their best. I'm not, listen, with NHS cuts, what can you do? They were understaffed under it. I was in St Mary's Hospital on the morning because I had waited 5 hours to locate a particular person from the 11th floor with mental health needs. I then find her. She's been sitting there since 6 o'clock. I persuade them to let me take her to get her medication from St Charles's. The only reason why we found her was because she was on the community mental health team. Okay, so I have come across in the last 5 days wandering survivors, disconnected from any service.
They'd be shell-shocked.
And-
They would be
and
shell-shocked. What do you have to say to people in that camera about this whole situation right now, and what we can do to make the situation better in the future?
I don't think. Do I speak right to the camera? Hi. I don't think anyone should feel scared about coming to the area. I think actually it's really important that you do. It's really important, even if you think you're just coming to take a photograph. It's really, those people that have all been affected are there. They are sitting there every day, and all they take is just to hold your hand, put your arm around them, and say that you're with them. It's about unity right now. It's about making the change from everyone feeling the same thing and getting together and moving things on. There has to be some better outcome from these people with this loss.
Thank you. And just for the record, what's your name?
My name's Emma, and I'm a local. I'm part of the community, and the community is made up of an incredibly rich variety from Colombians, Caribbeans. When I was a child, I would be down Portobello Road, Ladbroke Grove. The feeling that we've got now, and this is important to say, the feeling that we've got now is what we used to have. And Andy Oliver, the wonderful Andy Oliver, mentioned this yesterday. So when kids were coming up and saying, wow, this is amazing outpouring, actually that's how the community was.
But it's so sad that it takes a tragedy to get us back to where we're supposed to be.
Well, exactly.
Don't you think?
No, completely. But it's a wake-up call. As they say on the street, I'm woke. And I hope everybody else wakes.
Well, so many other people have woken up as well, and they've seen the injustice of what's going on, and they've seen, and that's not just with government, it's with the media, and it's with the cover-ups.
We don't actually need the media.
No, we don't. Yes,
because they've been quite irresponsible, and I've had to fight people chasing young girls who are trying to get to their families. I've had to hold people off them. People don't want to speak necessarily. They're in shock. Why would you want to speak to a camera when you can't even process that information yourself? So it's about respect, it's about love, it's about care, and it's about energizing with that anger enough to make that change. And we have to, because they will not. They're going to hang on to the way things have been, just to the very end, which is why we've got a situation we have politically. They will hang on. We can make that change. There's too many of us now.
Thank you, Emma. You are Alex.
I am.
And I've just about an hour ago we saw you speak, and I love when I see somebody speak with passion, and you've got something to say, so I'm going to hand this over to you, and just you say how you feel about the whole situation and one of the reasons why you're here.
Okay. Basically, I'm here today. Like I've been here many a times on this grass here, marching up and down these streets here, because what working class communities are feeling at the moment is an attack. It's an out and out attack on the working class. We are feeling austerity sweeping all over our communities. People are suffering, people are sitting here being sanctioned. You've got kids in overcrowded classrooms, you've got houses that are not appropriate to live in, and do you know what, you've also got gentrification as well, sweeping all over our communities. So you've got a new wave of people coming in, but the problem being the ones that are there, they're not being catered for. They're actually being socially cleansed right outside of London. And do you know what we've seen at Grenfell Tower, yeah? we as activists have been flagging up these issues for years. Do you know? We've been saying, do you know what? Money is not being put into housing. People are not getting the adequate housing that they're needing. It's not safe. People are overcrowded. They are sitting there overpopulated in these flats. The reality is, Grenfell, just like all the other tower blocks, was overpopulated. In London, for a tower block, in a council, you know, sort of housing, for it to not be overpopulated, it's a lie. It's an out and out lie. We've got the biggest homeless population in here, street homeless. Now that stands at 7,000 registered. Now you see them, but you don't see all the families. In this country at the moment, there are 62,000 families that are currently homeless. And that, vast amount of them numbers, have been under this government. Now we've got another 125 families that have got absolutely nowhere to live. I heard Miss U-Turn, Gia, the other day, she's going to rehouse them in the borough. I about spat my coffee out of the telly. I really did. I thought, where are you going to actually put these people? Because your borough's already overpopulated anyway. It's got absolutely nowhere for people to be rehoused. They're actually being housed outside the boroughs in bed and breakfast, temporary accommodation and women's refuges. And high-rises, obviously, that are very, very overcrowded. You've got entire families that are sitting there in one property because they will not be housed by the council. This is a problem that comes directly to these lot here. When people are saying today, I've heard it, it's not a political issue. Of course it's political. Of course it is an issue. Because our communities have felt austerity. They are not getting what they need. Communities are suffering at this moment. Where are you from, my lovely? Camden. I'm from South London. Got another one over there that's from somewhere else in London. I guarantee within your communities, you see the same suffering that I see in mine in South.
Well, not too, because I've been working with homeless for 5 years.
Yeah.
We feed the homeless every day.
Yeah.
And we feed like students.
Yeah.
And that ranges from 1,000 people every day, 6 days a week, and we do that unfunded.
Yeah.
And there are ways that we can do that. If we all regroup, if we all get together as a community, we can all do this, and we can all survive, and we can all kick the butts of those.
Exactly. That's what needs to happen. Do you know what? We are feeling raw emotion right now within our communities, whether it be in the Highlands of Scotland, whether it be in like London, whether it be in Peterborough, whether it be in Leicester, whether it be anywhere in this country, because we know as working class people, we are not being catered for. We are paying taxes, we are paying high rents, and we are not even safe in the buildings. We're genuinely not safe. But do you know the outside of the building now, because they had posh residents, they needed to overlook it, they made it look pretty. And that's what it was about. Because Joe, when you're sat in your social housing property, you're not seeing the property that you're living in. So to you, it's not really an issue, you know. You've got a house, you've got somewhere to live, you've got a roof over your head, you've been work, you want to sit down. But do you know them people? You know them people that are now moving in to what are our areas, you know, working class communities, they don't want to see it. They don't want to see it all because it brings down their house prices and it makes their friends go, oh look, you live around here. You live around here. It's very urban, don't you know?
So the aftermath. By the way, where do you live, Alex?
I live in Deptford, which is South London.
Okay. But you're very vocal. You're an activist all the time, aren't you?
I am.
Yeah.
Basically, I'm a government-made activist. I started seeing the suffering in my own community when I was living in Leicester, and basically I started looking in and turning leaves. Do you know what I mean? And then each leaf you turn to another one, and you see MP corruption, you see the Monsanto, the food that they're pumping in, you see what they're spraying overhead of us. You know, once you open the door to consciousness, you can't keep that closed again. And since then, obviously, I've been out here trying to bring change, doing it for my babies.
So how many babies do you have?
I have 2 children. I've got a little boy, and he's 8.5, and I've got a little girl, and she's 6. And in all honesty, they've known nothing but austerity. That's all they've known. So when I look back at, you know, like times gone by when I was a child, I remember youth clubs, I remember play schemes, I remember things, Joe, where you could, at the, you know, summer holidays, coach load of you, go from your community and you go off together. Do you know, now there's nothing like that for our children, nothing at all. And I feel that we have to make a stand, because if not us, then who's going to do it, you know?
You picked up a really good point. You know, your children have known nothing but austerity. So in a way, and they've seen the chemtrails, and the food that they're eating is like not real food, and so they probably think that's the norm. And it's down to us to show them that it isn't. What do you feel about that?
My children certainly do not think it's normal, and that's what we need.
Because they've got you as a mum.
Yeah.
Thank God for that.
Yeah. That is exactly what we need to do with our children. I feel that when I got to 18, I found out that the world that I was sold was a lie. and then I had to relearn the world as it is right now. I'm removing that from my children. They know from day dot, you know, we don't need to do this. There's renewable energy. These guys in here, they get a lot more money for doing absolutely nothing. Whereas they've seen me, years gone by, I've used food banks, I've scraped round, I've gone hungry so my kids could have something to eat. Any of them lot ever done that? No. How can they sit there and dictate to us about our lives when they know nothing about our lives? It's disgraceful. It's absolutely disgraceful. Teach your children. Show them the way.
And on one last word to that camera, what would you say to the people of Grenfell?
To the people of Grenfell, do you know, you guys there, my heart, I cannot express how much I am with you right now. Genuinely, like I am with you, and all the people that have come down and helped you when the government have done nothing are there for you, and we're there for you because we feel your pain. We want to be making change. We want to take this from a real dark time into something that's positive, and we need to do that by mobilising in our communities. And do you know what, you might be watching this thinking, yeah, someone from my block might be knocking around. No, you go and knock your block. You go and liaise with your community on how you can stop this. I want to see rent strikes. I want to see MPs chased out of the area. I want to see councillors hounded at their meetings that they have. Take the fight to their doorstep. Don't let the people that have suffered, the people that have got family members that perished in that building, don't let it be in vain. Like, stand up. If you just do something, for God's sake, go into your communities, do something, be that change. Because you know what, if we're not that change, then we're going to see the end of what we know as humanity and the world today. And we're on a ticking time bomb.
Hello there. First of all, can you tell me your name, please?
Mariora Goshen.
And just a moment ago, because you came up to us and you had something to say, and I'd like to hear it on camera. I'm sure other people would like to hear it as well. So do say your piece vocally.
Oh, well, I was listening to all the speeches, and at the end of the last one, before I popped over to get a drink from Tesco's, the fellow ended his speech by saying that the key end game is resignation and prosecution. So I was marching over to Tesco's thinking, yes, that's it. Resignation and prosecution. And there were these two policemen in Tesco's, and I said to them, resignation and prosecution, this is the key. And they looked aghast, and they said, well, what do you mean? What do you mean? And I thought they were being difficult because it was pretty obvious. I'd just come over from here and I thought they understood what this was about. And
but had they been here?
No, but they did know what was happening, and then they explained themselves, and they said that, well, they think that they said we shouldn't be telling you this, but heads will roll. That's what's got to happen. But heads will roll, but they won't roll at the top. They're going to roll right at the bottom with all what they call the little people, the big people. Yeah. Yeah, but they said they should. I said, oh, I take it back because I was getting a little bit shirty with them. What do you mean? You don't know what resignation prosecution means? It's obvious what's happening.
Very interesting. Heads will roll, huh? We'll see. Okay. Don't get me started. Don't get me started! Don't get me started.
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 Meant to